Welcome back, YouTubers. Today, I have an eBay package here right behind me. It's a train set that I have been looking at quite some time and debating if I wanted to get it. It's a little bit more than I wanted to spend on it, but it is near mint MPC train era. From what I've read, the locomotive was on display only and the cars were never taken out of the box, so the whole set was never ran. However, I'm glad that I had the train set. So let's open it up and see what we have inside. The one thing that I always wish I had more of was just more room to do things in. So I wouldn't be setting up my phone in certain ways to get certain shots and angles, but nevertheless, I make it work. So we have our package here. Let's open it up. I'm excited to see what is inside. Okay, so we have a top piece of cardboard and there's a lot of bubble wrap in here, a lot more protection. Ooh, I can see the passenger cars. Oh, we got the first passenger car. It's the MPC Chicago Alton passenger set. Okay, so this is the first look at the Webster Groves Chicago Alton passenger car. 6-wheel truck, just like the same size as the Crescent Limited. It's a nice car. I like the color on this. I don't want to reminisce too much in this. Let's open up the rest of them. I'm going to put this on the track. Got the next passenger car. It's a combo car. These still look nicely tight and wrapped in their plastic. This is their first time out. Must be like a breath of fresh air. The combo car. Got to pull out some more. Here we have the observation car. These cars do seem kind of heavy as I hold them. Our next passenger car is the baggage car. I like more of the colors on this one. The red is more bold on this car. It's more shown, I guess because less of the windows. And we have an emblem that's right towards the front of the car, back of the car. United States Mail Railway Post Office. This is our fifth passenger car. It's just the Wilson passenger car. Oh, wheel came off. Don't know how that happened. We'll just put that right back in there. Ah, good as new. Now the rest of the cars were from the MPC era, but this was the additional car that was added to the set, I guess in the 90s, I think. And that is the dining car. Oh yeah. Yeah, you could tell that this has not been opened. I mean, the packaging, the plastic is fresh. It's probably saying to itself, put me back in there, I want to go back to bed. No, we're gonna run you. We're gonna have fun. The dining car. I have my production lights turned off just to get a better idea on the luminosity of these passenger cars. And starting with the baggage car, it looks like that the lights are lit in here, but there is a cardboard interior that looks like it fell down and it's blocking the light coming out of the passenger cars. So it looks like both lights are on, but just that the ceiling caved in on itself. We come down to the combo car. We can see the car is fully illuminated. Here we have the Wilson passenger car. It is lit, but this light here seems kind of dim. Moving on to the dining car, this car is completely out. Moving here to the Webster Groves passenger car. Yeah, we could tell that the ceiling has caved in on itself, so that's going to have to get fixed. And finally, the observation car. This is the only car that is fully illuminated. And finally, the last piece that we have here in the box to take out, and we have the Chicago and Alton Hudson steam locomotive. This box is in outstanding condition for its age. It looks almost like it was brought right off the shelf. It is still rather firm in the box. Takes a little effort to get out. Absolutely no wear on this whatsoever. This is an exquisite item sitting on the tracks right now. I can't tell you how clean it looks just by looking at it. The coal on the tender is flawless. It looks like it's glistening. There's not a speck of dust on this anywhere, and it's in mint condition that I can't even put any more words to this and just how good it looks on the tracks. This train is die-cast bodies on the engine and tender, electronic whistle, the electronic mighty sound of steam, puffing smoke, magnet traction, the working headlight, transformer controlled forward, neutral, and reverse, powerful Lionel pull-more motor, wire handrails on engine and tender, authentic Chicago and Alton red train markings. Die-cast tender has 6-wheel die-cast trucks. So before I do any running on the tracks with this locomotive, we're going to take this apart. And to get the tender cover off, we're going to take off the 4 screws. So we have 1, 2, there's 3 over here, and there's the 4th one right there. So like any other MPC locomotive with these boards and this foam padding underneath, it just clearly disintegrated along with whatever's on the bottom of the board. So I got to find a solution to insulate this board, install the board onto this tender frame without shorting out the electronics. So it looks like this board was held down with electrical tape, because I see there's tape here and on this side. And if you look on the board, there's some residue along the edge of the circuit board here and here. So I guess that was their mounting technology, and this just might have floated on there, or it was just a single sticker back foam board that just stayed on place. So we're going to take off the electrical tape. Going to clean the sidewall where the tape was with some isopropyl alcohol. Also going to try to clean some of the board free of the sticky residue too with the alcohol pad. I'm going to cut 4 lengths of black electrical tape, and we're going to put 2 of them on the tender frame like the other ones were. So I'm just going to match up the board and see where the mounting was hypothetically. So right there should be good. If anybody's wondering, I'm using the Scotch 3M Super black electrical tape. This tape is not cheap, and I'll tell you, it's one of the best electrical tapes out there. And then I'm going to take the other 2 pieces and attach them to the sides of the electronics board on where the tape was originally adhered to. I have a bag of Mighty Gadget anti-static foam wrap sheets. They are 1/8 inch thick, and they come 12 inches by 12 inches in size. So I'm cutting up 2 small pieces the size of the electronic board, and I'm going to place them on the spot where the foam used to rest. Let's just take that and just kind of hold down the board with this tape. Hold down the sheets with these tape. Then electronic board, we'll let that rest right on top, and then we'll just kind of pull down the electric tape onto the tape that's already on the tender frame. There we go. Instant mounting. There. Even though there's 2 sheets on here, I think it's overkill, but I'd rather be overkill than underkill and have something short out the electronic board on the tender frame. I'm just checking out the contacts and the wiring down here, make sure everything is working okay, but sometimes just sitting around it can cause issues just by age, like wires can come off. Just going to throw a little bit of oil on there. Okay. All right, let's check out the engine. There's always one thing that I always forget to do, and that was the purpose why I took off the front boiler casing. Well, I can't get it right all the time. So the first thing that I'm inspecting is all the wiring, and everything looks like it's in top-notch shape. So I don't see any broken joints. Everything looks like it is intact. I don't see any issues with this. Even here with this fiberglass tape, this tape sometimes can cause a problem and just come right off. Moreover, so with this, I mean, again, it was never ran, but still, you want to give it a nice thorough inspection with the wiring, because sometimes things at the factory can mess up and you want to correct those errors before you do a running session. Let's have a look at the brush plate and the commutator plate. I mean, off the bat right now, brushes, excellent condition. Maybe a little wiping wouldn't do so bad. The commutator plate is kind of dark. I don't know. Shouldn't that be clean? I don't know. Maybe this was ran and I don't know about it. I'm going to take a Q-tip just to clean off the surface on the commutator plates. It doesn't seem like it's staining the copper on here. It looks like it's coming off pretty easily. But I did go on Facebook and I did ask several communities about this and asking, is this normal for a new locomotive to have the commutator plates looking like this? Some have said yes, it had some run to it, some significant run. Others say that the factory broke it in just to make sure that everything is working properly. And others said, well, it's used. They probably just changed out the rollers just to make it look new. So, I mean, it's a lot of conflicting answers with this, but all I know that the motor has been ran and there is carbon all over this, so we just have to get it cleaned up, making it look like new. Going to use this Acne needle, and I'm just going to clean out in between the commutator plates. I'm going to use a Dremel tool with a steel wire brush on low speed just to give the commutator plates a little more cleaning. Look how that's glistening now. That looks brand new. Here's a comparison with the two existing brushes on the left that I pulled out, comparison with a new brush onto the right. They both look not worn or not heavily worn compared to the new brush. I'm going to give the old brushes a little cleaning with some CRC electronic cleaner just to take off, whoa, that went flying. We're going to give them a little cleaning just to get off all the old grime on it so that I can use them over again. Give the brush plate just a little cleaning. Yeah, not bad. Not really dirty at all. It's actually pretty clean. Let's open up the rear gear plate and see what's happening here. So we're just going to put some grease on this, clean up this guy, and then get it all assembled and lube it up and test her out. Shoot a little grease on here. If you can see the E-unit drum in there, it looks just fine, and I don't think I have to touch it for any reason. Before I put the shell back on the locomotive, I'm going to take my Dremel tool with the steel wire brush, and I'm going to clean all the bottoms of these wheels and on the passenger cars. I did a little cleaning right here. You can see that the surface is a little bit shiny, so I'm going to give this better contact surface on the rails so I don't have any sputtering on the tracks. Reassembly time. Can't wait to get it on the tracks. So just before I put it back on the tracks, we're going to throw some PTFE grease on these gears and kind of spin these by hand to distribute the grease. And I have some OW20 fully synthetic motor oil, so I'm going to throw a little bit of oil on these moving parts. So we are ready to give the Chicago and Alton its maiden run on my table, and after giving a full service of cleaning the commutator plates, cleaning the brushes, lubing the points with OW20 fully synthetic motor oil, and PTFE grease, which is the same stuff found in label grease used for Lionel trains. This train should be good for another 5 to 7,000 miles. But I expect a good run with this since I didn't have to do a lot of work to this. The passenger cars, I did not fix the light bulbs in. I mainly wanted to get the steam locomotive to run, and that was my goal. Now the passenger cars are the same of the Crescent Limited and the Blue Comet passenger cars, and taking off the lids is going to be the same thing, which I have a video showing how to take the lids off the Crescent Limited cars to change light bulbs, or what I did, add LED strips inside of the passenger cars. So this tender does have the mighty sounds of steam and an electronic whistle. If it's the whistle I'm thinking about, it might sound like a dying cow or something around that nature. I don't know. But, you know, it's the technology of the time. So I put some JT Mega Steam drops inside of the smokestack, and let's give this its first run on my layout. The Chicago and Alton had a nice long run on my tracks, and it had its best performance ever. Well, actually to say that this is its only performance ever. I mean, for a train that's been in a box for a very long time, I wouldn't expect many or any mechanical issues, since that it was kept in a cool, dry, moist-free environment. And if there was any issues with it, I would have seen rust on all the moving parts and maybe some corrosion on the wires where the solder joints are. So nevertheless, the people who own these, they took really good care of them. So with some servicing, with some new oil and grease in the gears, I think that this train will have a nice long life ahead of itself. Now, shortly after I recorded the last train run that you just saw, the Hudson did see an E-unit issue. So what happened was that it took more voltage to rotate the drum in the E-unit housing than it should. So I opened it up to find out what was going on, and I saw that the E-unit drum was crooked inside of the E-unit housing while it was still inside of its pins of the E-unit itself. So I went to spin it a few times. It was a little stiff, but it did manage to go back again. So again, the train ran great, and then the issues happened again. So I thought this time I'm not going to play around. I took out that drum out of the E-unit, and I put another drum in from my Crescent Limited E-unit, and the train has worked fine ever since with no issues. Okay, now I did contact the seller from eBay who sold me the train, and I did ask them to say, hey, you know, was this train ever really ran on the tracks? Did someone come over and they played with it that you know of? And they assure me to tell me that that engine has always been on display and has never been touched by anybody else. Even from the person that he bought it from prior, more than a year ago, he tells me that the train was never ran And I kind of believe him for that because all of the plastic packaging is crisp, it's clean, there's no other folds on it, and the locomotive does not have any paint wear, fingerprints, or anything wrong with it. It basically looks showroom new. And again, I went to Facebook and I asked several communities asking about the run of the locomotive. Some did say that it was ran. Some say that it was ran very heavily and that the pickup rollers have been replaced just to kind of give it a near mint condition. And others have said that it has been tested by the factory just to make sure that there is no mechanical issues. So I'm going to take a stab at this and say that it was only tested at the factory and that it went no further than that. Again, I'm basing that upon the appearance of the locomotive, the paint job, the graphics, that everything looks clean, pristine, that nothing else happened, that the board operates well, that it has not shorted out in any way or form. Plus the box is in pristine condition. And plus it was very hard to pull that locomotive out of the box because the box is still brand new. Okay. Well, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all real soon again.